Hey guys, welcome to Born and Bred, a brand new episode. I told you season 2 has landed. I hope you enjoy each and every conversation that we bring to you. Today's episode is going to be quite special. It's going to be different from what we usually do. We are literally hanging out. I'm letting you in a bit more on my childhood, and I have a very special guest. Hopefully she won't let you in on too much of my childhood, but we'll see. Her name is Busang Ramoloko. She is a mother to 2 beautiful kids. She's a wife, a daughter, and an aunt, and a banker by profession. Welcome to Born and Bred!
Yay!
So Busang, I'm so happy you said yes to coming here. Yes, because I'll tell you why. I've always wanted to do an episode where I'm sitting with someone who knows me quite a bit. But I've always wanted someone who's chilled, and I think you're that person.
I hope so.
I hope so too. I know you're that person. You won't dish out too much of my news, but I know you'll give the relevant stuff for this particular podcast.
Of course.
How do you feel about being here with me?
I love the camera. Hi.
It loves you too.
But yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm hoping I'm not gonna spill a lot. But yeah, we'll see. I've got so much.
That's
to
great.
Speak. How much are you paying me?
A lot. It's a lot that you know about me. So when I think of us, and how... So our age difference is not huge.
Yes.
But I also feel like I know you when you were a child as well.
Yes, you do.
And when I think about you as a child, I remember this calm, collected, quiet, but very happy child at the same time. I'm interested to hear, when you think of me as a child, what do you, what are the memories?
Oh my God, you are a bossy child. Bossy, bossy, bossy. Let me tell you a story. So Thabiso, when she's 2 years younger than me, when she used to go to creche, she grew out her nails. I remember the one time Lebo asked her, Thabiso, why don't you cut your nails? She's like, no, I don't want to cut my nails because when the teacher pinches me, I want to pinch her back.
Guys, this story I've heard all my life.
That is my favorite story. I've got lots more, but you know what? That is my favorite story because I will never forget that one. No,
oh my gosh. Guys, I'm not joking. I've heard the story all my life. And it made it to the podcast thanks to you.
Yay. Now people know a little bit more.
Oh gosh, no. Busang, when I, growing up, so as a kid growing up, you, a lot of people feel like it's an ideal situation to be growing up with 2 parents,
of course,
married, and we've had that privilege of growing up with 2 parents.
Yes, we did.
In a household where they loved each other. Between the 2 of us, we know what ride or die and till death do us apart means. Just because our parents, they were together up until the one partner departed. Yeah. But for me, it wasn't the story wasn't so rosy. And I mean, there was a lot of love and, my parents loved each other. They loved us. But there was a plot twist somewhere where people don't tell us that, okay, it is ideal for your parents to be together, but in a situation where your parents fight a lot, which is what I experienced.
Yeah.
Where I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying most weekends were fights. And it's fights between people that truly love each other. Mm-hmm. What for you was the plot twist where you're okay, it's nice that we have mom and dad in the house. For me, the plot twist was the fights were too much. And I felt yes, we're together, Mara. Can you just tone it down with the fighting?
At one point, I think I actually told my parents after a big fight, I think you guys should get a divorce because I can't handle it. My parents also were I
was actually, I remember saying that to my parents actually once, that maybe it's time to get it.
Because we were raised with right is right, wrong is wrong. Even though they fought, but they told us right is right, wrong is wrong. And you can't actually accept amogela dilo tse seyong right, things that are not good for you, you know. So at one point I told my parents, please guys, let's just leave this, because really you might love each other, but you are traumatizing us.
Exactly. And I mean, it's weird to be traumatized in a place of love, ne?
Yes, it is. But one thing about my dad, as much as people know him, he was like a fighter. He always fought, like fights were caused and all of those things.
Yeah.
My dad, the next day, would come back and apologize. Like, he would individually apologize to us for every single thing that he did. So he would go, Lebu, I'm sorry, for swearing at you. I don't feel like my mom would actually force him, Zamo apologize to the kids. So he would come and say, I'm sorry. And after a huge fight, you don't want to accept the I'm sorry.
Apology.
And my dad was the kind of person that if he's apologizing, you must take it.
Yes. But that's, what, Busang, the fact that he could do that is great. It's amazing,
It is, but it's also like, why do you do the wrong thing and then come back and apologize? Why can't we learn from our mistakes? For me, that's what I feel that they could have done differently in my childhood and Lebu's childhood. Like, they could have said, okay, Sharp, we've done this a couple of times. Now we know what we don't need to do. You understand?
Exactly.
But I guess.
Yes, but let me tell you one thing. I've always, and I think I said this in a previous episode, I've always longed for seeing that apology. Because for us, tomorrow it's another day, it's a new day. You can imagine a 7-year-old Thabiso thinking, okay, these people hate each other. Okay, they love each other. Okay, they hate each other. Do you understand how confusing that is?
It is so confusing. But I think my dad also learned to apologize later in life, not when we were still babies. When we were babies, like 7, 10, he wouldn't apologize to us. He would carry on with his wife. They love each other. And now we are in the middle, like, okay, do we love them or do we, you understand, like, okay, do we love mom? Do we love dad more? What do we do? Are they okay? Are they going to fight again? It was very traumatic.
Yeah.
Even though I love my parents, but it was a traumatic time.
I know. And we were speaking again with Violet, a psychologist, and she said that speaking about things like that brings so much shame in the families. It brings so much shame because they themselves, our parents, don't know how to deal with things.
Of course.
And I said to her, what? Ever since I went to therapy, I see my mom and dad as individuals who had trauma themselves.
Yes, they do.
And all they needed to do was, I'm saying all they needed to do by all respect.
Yeah.
Because I know if they knew better, they would have done better.
Yes.
But they needed to maybe identify that, no, I'm not okay because A, B, C, and D. I know for a fact that my mom would have anger outbursts because she was longing to know who her dad was and things like that. Mm-hmm. And my dad lost her parent at a very young age and was neglected by some of the family members. Mm-hmm. So imagine those two people coming together to create a family. So it's only fair for us now as adults to see them as people who were wounded. Do you feel at any point that when you look now at your parents and you're like, maybe they were not okay themselves?
No, definitely. They didn't know better. They also didn't have the resources that we have currently. So I'm not ashamed of what happened. I mean, even the week of my dad's funeral, we were laughing about how many fights he caused. But I'm not ashamed. And I think with therapy and for myself, I'm not pushing it on them. But for me, I learned that you can't be traumatized and raise children properly. You understand? So for me, I I'm always advocating to Sabela Hore, you know what? We need to heal ourselves because those traumas that were caused for us are the traumas that are going to go down. And we don't want to create children that are angry, the children that are quick. Children, I'm not ashamed of my past. Like it's made me the woman I am today,
Man.
So I'm not really I'm not ashamed. People, this is me. I love me, you know. And yeah, I'm happy that I could see or experience these things. This was my path according to God.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, I'm going to overcome whatever it is, whatever life brings at me, I will overcome because
so
I know who I am.
That is so powerful. Busang, you know why? Because it says to me, you're either on a healing journey or you healed somehow. I mean, I know they say you don't get to a point where you've healed, but I feel like whatever that did hurt you in your childhood, you've sort of come to terms with it, you've accepted it, and you're like, it doesn't define me, which is the exact same place where I am.
It's years of therapy.
Yes, which is fantastic.
It is. I'm an advocate for therapy.
Yes.
Every single thing, go to therapy.
Yes, I know. And I'm so proud because I know that if we start that kind of culture in our family, I feel like we are like the first ones, ne?
Yeah.
To be like, let's go to therapy.
Yes.
I mean, if we talk about our family, guys, the broader sense of it, every single person needs to go to therapy.
We all need healing.
We all need healing in that family. But I'm glad that we are the first ones.
Yeah.
We're technically breaking the cycle.
Yes, and it takes it's great courage, because my therapist always says it's great courage to actually realize that you have a problem, and you go and seek help for that problem. And I live like therapy is my Bible. And my therapist also says, you're fine, just go.
Just go. You're okay now. Go live, girl. When you look at both your parents, I know them both. I love them both. I love them dearly. Do you see yourself do you look at Mama and be like, Dodo, I think here I took your thing, especially when it comes to your relationship with your husband. Do you like there's things that you think, okay, here it's my mom coming out?
So for me, I took both of my parents, all of them, their being.
Me too.
And the sad thing is I took my dad's temper, but it takes a while for me to get to that point. And I think Sabelo has also noticed that it takes a while for me to get to that point. Yeah, I must be really pushed because, even at work, people will push you. Yeah. But I don't get to that point where I'm like,
Yeah.
But with Sabelo, he knows, we get to a point where I'm like, I am there.
Yes, you're like, Manje.
I'm there. But I think I also took my mom's patience in that fact, because my mom would ignore.
Yeah.
My mom would be calm. She would try to diffuse the situation.
Yeah.
And my dad was always, my dad was 0 to hero.
Yeah.
In a minute.
Yeah.
And my mom was the calm one. She would try to not have the argument escalate.
Always.
She's always been the calm one. So I'm a little bit calm because it takes me longer to get to the point.
Yes.
But my mom also, when she gets to that point, she's like, enough.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I had to be vocal. As you say, I was quiet. I had to be vocal and speak for myself and stand up for myself after Lebu passed away.
Yes.
Because I didn't need to.
Yeah, because you had your sister.
You understand. So I did take both of them. Lebu was obviously my dad. Everything.
No, Bona, she was exactly your dad.
Exactly.
Just a much more beautiful and well put together version.
Yes.
Talking about Lebo, that's your sister.
Yes.
That's your sister, your beautiful sister. I remember, I don't have a lot of memories of her. I don't know why, but how old was I when she passed?
So I was 23, so you were 21, I think.
I was 21, ne?
Yeah.
As a child, I guess she was always around us. I know her to be beautiful, bold, that one I know for sure. But I don't know, for some reason, I don't have a lot of childhood memories of her. I know her as an adult.
Yes.
I guess because maybe our age gap between her and I was huge. Do you remember her as a child?
Yes,
she
I do.
passed on. May her soul rest in peace.
Yes.
She passed on how many years ago now?
12 years. 12 years now. Is it 12 years? Almost 23? It's going to be 13 years.
Yeah. May her soul rest in peace.
Oh my God. It's been long.
It's been long. It's been so long. What are the childhood traits of her that you remember?
She Oh, my sister. My sister was bossy. She stood up for me. She was loving. She loved me like beyond. She would protect me all the time. Like I went to high school after like I think she was 2 years ahead or 3 years ahead. She protected me in high school, like the whole of high school until she actually left. And even when she left, people knew.
Yes.
You know, it's Lebu's sister. You touch her, she's coming for you.
Yeah. So Lebu was your dad.
Lebu was my dad, and in our instance, she always hung out with us. But because she was older, we never actually played with her.
Yes.
You know, she would be sitting there playing gusha while we are busy playing something else.
Yes.
So yeah, we never really interacted with her that much. But I knew that she protected us. I mean, Thabang also should have a lot of memories of Lebu because she's not so far apart from her. So
sure.
Yeah.
She's one of those people, if God could bring someone just one last time.
There's lots.
Just one last time. Just for us to experience her one last time. Busang, so you lost your dad as well. So you and I lost a parent.
Yes.
We are left with one parent. And do you feel like you hang on to her a lot
Yes.
now? Because you're like, I don't want to lose you. Now that I know that God is capable of, taking back his people, I don't want to lose you.
Like
you hang on to her?
I think my mom is like annoyed and actually she's over me because as much as I was overprotective and over caring over everything with my dad being obviously ill, I'm also like that with her. Like when she's sick, we were fighting the other day. I was like, why are you working when you're sick?
Yes.
You know, if you die, they're going to replace you at work.
Right. I feel like it's so traumatizing losing a parent because once you stay, the one that's left, you like, I don't want you to die.
And I'm hoping this episode, Mama, like actually, Jorge, this is from a place of love. It's not a place of, I want to control you. But it's a place of, I love you very much.
Exactly.
And I don't want you to be abusing yourself,
But also, that's what I'm saying. It's like, now you know that these people actually do die as well. So my mom died quite, how do I put it? She didn't get sick or anything.
It was very sudden.
Sudden,
it traumatized
tragic
me.
And sudden. It was very traumatic.
I remember that day. I actually laughed at my mom. Like,
it
don't
was
joke
April
like that.
Fools. It was the 1st of April.
I was like, don't joke like that. And I remember I came to your house with pants because I couldn't believe it until I actually saw you and your dad. And I think, I just broke down there because I could see Jorge. No, like this is real. Yeah, that broke me.
Yeah, no, her passing was very traumatic. It was so traumatic. And I think when you guys came as well, for me, that was when it started to sink in that, okay, now we're in this point, now she's really, really gone. But the fact that she died the way that she did sent me to such a dark place immediately. And I couldn't cope. So I went straight to therapy. And for me, without therapy, I wouldn't have been able to deal with her passing.
Definitely.
So literally, therapy was my coping mechanism. How did you cope with, especially because you saw both your sister and your dad get sick and get to that point? Do you think, and people always say, when you are better, your mom passed on immediately. And I'm like, okay, it's still traumatic. And I'm still not coping because of that. How did you cope after they were gone? Let's start with Lebu. How was your coping because you were a bit younger then?
Sure. So with Lebu, obviously we went to the hospital. Yeah. And on that day, the day she passed away, like she was thanking everybody. Yeah. It was weird, right? Because she thanked everybody, and when we left, she waved goodbye to me. And we went home and sat in front of the TV, and the TV wasn't on, believe you me. Sure. Both me, my mom, and my dad were sitting in front of the TV.
How old was Amogelang? By the way, Amogelang is Lebu's daughter. Yes.
Amo was 10. She just turned 10 on that day.
She was young, eh?
Yo. So she just turned 10 on the day. And she couldn't see her mom because they didn't want kids in the ward at that time because she wasn't well. So we sat in front of the TV, and then when we decided to go to bed, they phoned. Obviously, my mom was hysterical, and funny enough, my dad actually locked us inside the house and ran away.
It's the trauma.
But how I dealt with Lebu's death, I actually pushed it out because I was in go mode. So I was like, okay, we need to prepare for the funeral. We need to get this. I need to notify work. I need to do this. I need to do that. It was like focus. And then after the funeral, it was quiet.
Yes.
Right? And I thought, no, I'll be fine. I actually had a breakdown at work 6 weeks after the funeral.
My God.
And luckily, my boss at the time, Isme, she was understanding because I was shouting at her. You can't expect. For what? I don't know. I think she just asked me, do I want a Coke? And I was working and trying to block out everything, not knowing how there's a turmoil inside of me. And I shouted at her. We worked at the call center at the time, sitting at the top of the call center. I remember everybody staring at me. And Isme is like, my Leafy, I understand. Go home.
Go home, yeah.
And I went home and I actually couldn't get out of the parking. And I didn't know why.
Sure.
I couldn't get out of the parking. And she actually phoned ICAS for me because I couldn't leave the parking. I was so hysterical. I didn't understand what's going on because when a person passes, when a person passes away, we cry, we move on, you know, because that's how it's always been in the family.
Exactly.
So I couldn't understand what was going on. They had to get a therapist, obviously a psychologist, to come and speak to me in the parking lot. She's like, this is everything coming out all at once. And it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be ugly. And I remember I just said, and she's like, I'm going to leave you to sit here. I'll sit with you. She sat outside my car and she let me cry. And as soon as I was done, she's like, do you feel better?
Yeah.
I'm like, no. She's like, this is where the work starts.
Oh my God.
So we started that work. We did a lot of talking.
Yeah.
She then said to me, you need to write a letter every day to your sister. And with that letter, you don't have to read it to me. Just put it somewhere. And I did that. I wrote a letter every day. Like you're writing to your diary, dear diary. But I wrote to Lebgang, dear Lebgang, you know, this is what happened today. This is, you know, Amu is such a lovely child. And I think like she's not even aware, you know, things like that, aware that you're gone. But she was aware. I mean, it was her mom, even though Namisa Lebu.
Yeah,
but
it's her mom.
Yeah, it's her mom. So I wrote to her. I think after 6 months, the psychologist then said to me, let me see your letters. Bring your letters in your next appointment. I couldn't believe I almost finished a whole book, a whole notepad.
That's how much you had.
That's how much. Because sometimes I would write twice a day. I would literally, every time I'm doing something, I even went and got a tattoo
a beautiful tattoo
in her memory. So it was my coping mechanism, and I didn't know then that therapy would be this amazing tool, because it's taboo in the Black community. Therapy, it means you're not okay.
You're not okay. I feel like that's also how it is intimately in our family.
Yes,
that I care, so that's where I went.
Yes,
and they're like, oh, you know, everyone is like, they don't know what it is.
They don't understand.
Like, it's like, are you mentally ill?
Yes, they don't understand. Yeah. Because I know my dad had a stint as well, I think about 2 weeks in Akeso.
Yeah.
And he's like, Akihlani, I'm not crazy. And we were like, but Dad, it's to help you with whatever you're dealing with, because when you've had a stroke, obviously there's changes, big changes in your life. He was in a wheelchair, then to a cane, so there were big changes in his life. So when he went to a care, so he's like, I'm not crazy, and we're like, but it's not
that.
It's not. You are getting help that you need. And I think that's where it stems from. Like, our parents think therapy.
Yes. Now I remember when I went to IKEA, so I first told my dad, I was like, listen, this is what's happening. this is where they're saying I'm going because I'm not okay. And I remember I was literally crying.
No, you were not okay.
I wasn't okay. Busang, I wasn't okay. But you could see, he's like, so this child, is he losing her mind? Like, have I lost a wife and now I'm losing my child? Because now she's gone cuckoos. She's done. So that's what I'm saying. Intimately in our family, it's not something, and I'm so proud that we started the whole therapy thing and we're the people. So how did you deal with your dad's death as well?
My dad's death, we went to therapy. I booked therapy for all of us. I went with my mom and Naledi.
Yes.
Khosi didn't want to go. Leamo didn't want to go. And I said to them, I put it out there, it's there if you need it. Because I know we all deal with things differently, and I can't always push therapy on everybody.
No.
After my dad's death, you remember we couldn't sleep. And I didn't have access to my therapist at the time because we were seeing each other once a month.
Yes.
So it was only later that I was going to see him at the time. It was a him. He transferred.
Yes.
So we went to... I booked the ICAS at work and we went for a group therapy. I remember the first session, I was the only one speaking. Yeah. Because I'm used to that setting where I'm talking about how I feel.
It's your comfort zone.
Yes. And my mom was just crying that whole session. Naledi is also crying in that session because it was literally a week after my dad's death. So it was after burying him. So I went to therapy. I still go to therapy. I'm in a good space in my life. Sabelo knows, marriage counseling, everything.
That's
when
beautiful.
We can't fix things and we need someone else to help us, I say, now I've reached the point where I can't fix, you can't fix, we can't fix together.
Let's get an intervention.
Let's get someone to assist us. And I think he actually loved it the first time he went with me. Because it got him to read a lot after that. He was reading a lot of books. So with my dad's death, I'm kind of still navigating through it. And
2 years now, ne?
Yes.
Going to 3 this year.
No, going to 2.
Going to 2.
Yeah,
okay.
so
it's also still fresh.
I'm still navigating. I'm not 100%. I don't think I'll ever be 100% because I have my days where I'll just post 50 pictures of him.
Yeah. Oh,
I have days where
I love those posts, I must be honest.
my heart is no, I have days where I go and sit at his grave. If I'm working at Waterfall after work, I would go and sit there and just talk to him like he's there,
Yes.
So I'm still navigating through it. I'm hoping that my kids as well can get and actually start healing because we never heal.
No.
From losing the person you love.
No, not that close.
No.
That
and
was
we've
your
had
dad.
And when my dad passed away, I was at work. I took something to Annie, went to the hospital. They phoned me. I was on Marlborough Drive going to the hospital. And I remember they said to me, your dad is sick, right? I'm like, yes, the hospital now. Please come see him.
Yeah.
And normally, you know me, I will rush. I will be chup, 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 chup. That day, there was something or someone that told me there's no need to rush.
Yeah, it's over.
I'm not there. And I drove, I was having a conversation with myself, a cuckoo's nest that I am.
I love it.
I was having a conversation with myself because I remember there was a BMW that passed me so fast I had to move out of the way. And I'm like, oh, he's going to cause an accident. Truth be told, before I got to the off-ramp here, just Slovo in town, there was an accident. And that same BMW.
That same guy.
But there was something that told me, don't rush. I got to the hospital. As soon as I parked the car, that's when all the adrenaline came up. And I was running to the ICU, running, opening the door. And then I wanted my dad because they asked me, who are you here to see? I'm pushing nurses. I'm here to see my dad.
Yeah.
And obviously they had closed the curtain. And my mom heard me. She came out the door and I could see that he's gone.
Yeah.
And I let out such a huge cry. But it was actually quite funny because I would cry and I would stop and be like, oh, I need to call
this person. If this person, your organizer self is like, okay, I need to do this.
Yes.
It's go time.
And I would get back after calling that person and that person, I would get back and I would cry again.
Yeah.
And then I would be like, oh, I need to call the mortuary. I need to do this. And I would go back to like sprints of crying.
Coming back. Yeah. Yo, guys, you see, grief
is something else.
It's something else. So growing up, I considered you my best friend. I don't know why. I just don't know why. No one must ask me why.
No, you definitely did. Because you didn't want all the other cousins.
No, I just wanted Busang. You know, when I wake up, I eat, whatever. Mama, kilo bana Busang.
Yes.
And then I'm gone. So growing up, most of the things that you would do, I would do as well. Of course. I mean, from how you dressed, when you were in tights, I also wanted to be in tights. And I remember growing up, I would see you guys, like, when there's a death in the family, you would go and look at the body.
Yes.
And I would also be the little one, also wanting going. To see. That thing traumatized me.
So much.
It traumatized me because as a young child, when I go to bed, I remember all of these people's faces. Malume Boyki, I still remember what he looks like. Like everybody that we saw, and it's something that I would follow you guys.
Yes.
When you're going to do it, when there's a line, it's all of us, and I'm there, small little Thabiso behind you guys to look. It traumatized me. Did it do anything to you?
For
that
me,
process?
It didn't actually. I think it's because Mama spoke through it. Like she would say, Jorge, if you don't want to see this person, don't go and see them. Yeah. But this is the last time you're going to see this person. So it never really traumatized me. I would see the person, yes, in the coffin, but I wouldn't remember them in the coffin. Like I don't remember every single family in the coffin. I remember my dad as a person that laughed, and I saw him in the coffin. I remember Lebu, the stylish person, the beautiful one.
Oh, gosh.
But I don't remember the coffin part. I think for me it was like saying goodbye, but I also understand that it's traumatizing, and that's why I never forced my kids to go see a body, because we all think differently.
Exactly.
We all take things differently, differently. So I don't force Josi and a lady to go view bodies. If they want to, they will. But if they don't, then it's not really a big thing. They'll remember the person as they are. And I think that's actually great, because death is cutting. It cuts. And for you to have that last picture of that person in the coffin is actually not a good thing for a person if you are that kind of person.
Yeah, exactly. You know? No, for me, I'm definitely that kind of
Then
person.
don't.
I was that child, and now I avoid it like a plane. Like I avoid it completely. And I'm scared that I'm trying to correct how that traumatized me through my kids, because I don't let them view the bodies. I don't. I feel like it's a decision that they'll make when they're older.
I think so too.
For now, because of what it did to me.
But also it's good to ask. I mean, we're raising children that we can talk to. So it's not like when we were raised, like you are going to do it.
No,
you understand. Like so that. It's a conversation. You have a conversation. Do you want to do it? No, your reasons.
Asked, actually.
No, just ask. You'll be very surprised.
Yeah, I haven't asked. And I mean, you're saying the kids we raised are very verbal. They'll say what
they'll tell you, I don't want to go see that person. Why am I going to?
Exactly. Sure, it's been such a great conversation, Busang. I want to close because I don't want to waste too much time. But what are you, like you've just said now, you speak to your kids, what are you doing differently, just given our backgrounds, to just, I don't know, we can't prove, our kids will never be immune to trauma.
They won't.
I feel like it's not possible.
No. Unless we put them in a bubble.
Exactly. Somewhere where they don't get in contact with anyone and ourselves. What are you doing differently that you feel is going to help them?
With my kids, I'm getting help.
Yeah.
For me, that's number one. I'm going to therapy.
That's powerful.
And for my kids and Nalsabelo, we try and not have arguments if we are disagreeing about something in front of the kids.
Yeah.
It's in the bedroom, and we use our Low.
How difficult is that?
Because when you are angry,
you want to let it out.
yes. So sometimes we'll text each other. He'll be somewhere in the bedroom, or we'll be texting each other like, But also, kids can sense, when something is not right.
Yeah.
So I've always told Sabelo, because my husband, Shem, I love him, but he wears his heart on his sleeve.
Yes. Hey, Santa.
So when he's not okay,
Yeah.
you will see it. He's not a person that's like me, that learned over the years, seeing my mom do it, seeing my dad do it. He's not that person.
Yeah.
So he wears his heart on his sleeve.
Oh, that's
so
beautiful.
sometimes it is difficult to have an argument with him, and not let it show, because he's an emotional person. He will let it show. I'm not okay. It is amazing, but also I don't want to traumatize the kids. Yes, we have disagreements. Yes, but I don't. The big fights, we don't. I don't like that. I feel like if you were never exposed to, it's okay to dish, then maybe the little bit of the trauma would be gone.
Yeah.
But I try not to give my kids trauma. I try them to I try to protect them from that. Our arguments are for us to fix. It's an adult thing. And if they hear it, I tell Khosi, it's between me and your dad. We'll fix it. Because my son is also both my kids are emotional people. So they take on that anger. You understand? Yeah. So we try to do that.
Yeah.
What else do we do? I talk to my kids.
Yeah, but that's big. That's big, and that's powerful, and that's a change. On its own, it's a huge change and a different thing you're doing. That's
definitely.
amazing.
We have to fix ourselves to be better parents, and we can only do it in ways that we actually want to do. And we're not perfect. Exactly. We're not gonna. They're gonna have stories about us.
Of course, I can't wait to hear a podcast. My mom used to do this and that,
and I'm the strict parent. So,
wait, it's coming. Wait for it.
It's coming.
Sure. Okay, Busang. I think we've covered everything that I felt I wanted to put out there for my audience to enjoy. If there's anything you want to say, or anything that I didn't touch that you feel will be beneficial to our audience,
just follow the podcast. It's absolutely amazing. I love it. I'm forever on the podcast. I think I watch everything on there. And even though I know her, there are things that I'm actually being exposed to that I don't know, because Thabiso is very private. If you don't know Thabiso is very private. Follow the podcast and get to know her. And she's an amazing human being.
Oh, I love you. I love her so much. Guys, thank you for watching. It was such a personal episode for me. And I'm glad you got to meet Busang. Hopefully she'll come again. I don't know. You guys
I'll come next time.
Next time it'll be 3 girls just talking. I think this is the end of the episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Subscribe if you haven't. Bye.
Please. Bye.